What's up, all you cool cats and shop rats? Welcome back to Rule Hard Garage. This week we are back on the XS400 exhaust. If you missed the previous episodes, you can click right here. This week we built the merge collector. I've got a couple more tips for you, and if you stick around to the end of the video, I'm going to update you on kind of where we're at with the XS400 exhaust. So let's jump into it. Alright, so I got 3 more tips for you guys. These are bonus tips. I definitely think it's things that are going to help you guys out. Tip number 1, save all your little extra bits and pieces. So when you cut your pipe, you're going to always have a cutoff. Save those cutoffs. Save the little bits and pieces afterwards, because you never know when you may need that exact size, or you may need a little chunk, or one of those little angles gives the pipe just enough kick to get it where you want it to go, because there's going to come to a point where you're not going to be working off of exact 90s or anything anymore, and you're just going to be kind of putting things together, mocking it up, making something that works. If you've got pieces that are legitimate crap, throw them away. They're garbage. Don't hang on to stuff that you don't need. Tip number 2 is using pie cuts can help you make a bunch of like really complicated parts that you can't normally make. Little S-curves and little twisty bends, merge collectors, stuff like that. So it's not just about making 90s. Once you master making the 90s, or at least are comfortable with it, you can use the technique of the little pie cuts to help you do all sorts of stuff, make all sorts of parts that, you know, you didn't think you were going to be able to. Tip number 3 is welding. A couple tips on how I get my welds to look decent. Now, this is going to be dedicated to if you're using a TIG welder. I use MIG wire when I'm TIG welding the exhaust. That's what I use for my filler wire. It's a smaller diameter, so you don't get too much filler, so it keeps your bead looking nice and clean. First, when I'm putting my tacks on, I have the welder set at like 50 amps with pulse. Get a nice hot tack, nice solid tack with the MIG wire. But then everything in between, as long as it's a nice tight fit up, I'm not using any filler at all. I'm just using pulse, 40 amps to 50 amps, and just kind of rotate the part and zip nice and easy, nice and steady, and I'll get a nice clean bead. So that's all that we have for the tips. Just a couple little bonus tips that I wanted to sprinkle in for you. Now we're actually going to jump over and I'm going to show you the updates on the XS400. So if you watched the last video, you remember us building these. The only thing changed here is I've added quite a few more tacks in here to make sure all this stuff stays nice and steady. I had intended on finish welding these up, but then I started thinking that I wasn't positive that Colin wanted these exactly where they were. This is what we worked on this week, this merge collector, which not quite as nicely done as I had hoped that it was, but it's not too bad. One little bonus tip: if you're using metal that's finished, like this had a galvanized finish on it, I went through great lengths to get this thing clean, and still, if you look right there, I had some porosity, so I must have missed the edge a little bit. So prep your parts. I know I say that all the time, but preparation is huge. So we cut this back. It's going to get cut back much further, and there's going to be some pie cuts kind of bringing it out. And this is actually going to sit a little bit lower, probably something more along those lines. As you can see, we got a little bit of clearance coming through. We didn't have these carbs on last time, so you can kind of see how tight things are going to be coming through here. Probably going to end up cutting this back and kind of shooting straight through this way, and then whoop. Same thing on this side. This is going to end up getting cut back and kind of twisted in through here. These parts of the collector are actually slip fit for this size. So the idea is that these header pipes will bolt onto the bike, and then you'll be able to take this muffler slash collector, and it'll just slip fit onto the header pipes and be held on with a spring. So we've already decided that we're going to end up having to do some sort of heat shield over the top of the exhaust just to protect the carburetors. But other than that, I think it's turning out pretty fucking good. That's all we have for today. Thanks for watching. As always, go over, subscribe, hit the bell, like, comment, share. Let me know that you love these videos. Until next time, peace.